we've been talking about Mark W. Johnson's perspective of what a business model looks like. And he particularly has these ideas of resources and activities. And previously in here I had a reference to a profit formula. But if I modified this very slightly and I said, I also want to know something about key partners that are required in order to deliver this. This slightly modifies the business model. And then what I can also do is I can add another element, which is a connection to what is the cost structure required in order to deliver that particular, this piece here, which we now could call something slightly different, which is the value creation element of the business model. And the reason I'm doing this modification on this is because there was a piece of research that was done by a gentleman by the name of Alexander Osterwalder who created what was called the business model canvas. So I'll just write that up here. For completeness, so that was Alexander Osterwalder. And he took the existing views of business models and adjusted them very slightly. So I just want to add in what that's about. What did he add? Well, one of the first things that we need to recognize is that we have this idea of customer, fairly critical. So whereas before we had the customer value proposition, we're now also talking about the customer segment. And Osterwalder added a couple of additional things which are quite important to us and to the customer. First of all, he added this notion of the customer relationship, and then, and basically for completeness, this connects between that and that. And then he also added this idea of a customer channel, and again, there's a relationship here. Now, once we've got this picture, you can see the canvas, the value proposition remains at the heart of what we're talking about here. On this side, we have the value creation element, including the cost structure. If down here, I was to add an additional box, which we can call revenue streams, then I have pretty much what Osterwalder had in mind in terms of how he would structure this overall canvas. So let's just talk through a couple of these things, and I'm going to talk through them in a particular order because, sorry, actually, just for completeness as well, whereas we talked about value creation there, here we talk about value capture. Okay, so if you imagine a line kind of going through the middle of the value proposition on this side, all of these activities, including the revenue streams, are about value capture, and on this side of the line it's all about value creation. All right, so what I want to do is I just want to give you a notion of how you would actually use this, and I'll do it as quickly as I can so that you have a kind of a précis of it really. The starting point for innovation has got to be an understanding of the customer segment. And the customer segment has been thought about in so many different ways. In traditional marketing, it was historically the case. So in the time of Philip Kotze's writings on marketing, he would have talked about a segment in terms of demographics, in terms of psychographics, in terms of geography possibly, in terms of sectors, and so on. So there would have been a number of different ways to talk about segmentation. In innovation, we may talk about some of those things, but our focus is segmenting around a job to be done for the customer. This is a notion that's been used by a number of different people. There's also a slight variation on it, which is talking about innovation outcomes. What is the outcome that the customer is trying to achieve?